Is that working?
I think so. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me well enough?
Yeah.
Sick. All right, cool.
Yeah, we're let me just adjust the levels for my voice.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Hello. How are you?
Hi. Uh, um, is this gonna be in it?
Oh yeah. We just
Oh,
okay. The way this works is I just hit record, and anything happens that happens. I'm going to ask you questions like a normal interview, but also like if you want to go off wildly on a tangent, it'll all just be
yeah.
recorded too. And
Like
then
this part's in there too.
oh yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah. How long do you think I can get away with chewing on this?
chewing. I mean,
I guess
as long as you want to. Really, no one's ever really tested the
I guess
limits of the game before.
I guess it comes at my own expense.
Uh, I mean, I don't know.
Page length wise.
Well,
Maybe
yeah,
you've never been pushed.
yeah. I guess. I mean, if you want to just spend the whole format subverting the format, you could do that if you want to as well. Yeah.
No, I I don't want to do that.
Okay.
I'm I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's a good day.
Cool.
It's
Nice
a nice
to
day.
meet you. Yeah.
Yeah. So as I was saying, the way this normally works is, I'll ask questions like a standard interview, but then you could just talk about whatever the hell you want to, and it'll all be recorded, and we'll first the print transcription will be out in the magazine, and then later that month the audio will be released on our YouTube page.
Awesome. And does this go? Will this go on my record?
On your record.
That was a dumb. That was a dumb joke. Don't worry about it. I'm sorry. It
On
was
your
about like a
record, on your record, like you're
like
recording, or on your record, like
no,
you're like
like it's a job
police
interview or
record.
something, and like resume or like police record is really
You could put it
that's
on your resume, probably. You could probably find a
police.
way to like make it sound more important than it is, and put it on your resume.
Police record is like the most legible form of the joke, I think. But I didn't decide ahead of time before I made it.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
mean, I guess only if you say something illegal, or if you say something about not
Yeah.
liking um, people who own social media or something.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think you're fine.
I'll try and stay clear. I'm trying to stay out.
Okay, great. Keep safe.
Yeah.
So, what's your name and where are you?
um. Hannah Bannanah, which is spelled like it sounds,
Uh-huh.
like Bannah.
Like
Oh fuck! Actually, let me double check. Wait, Bannn Anah.
like the fruit is what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, no, not like the fruit, but because I think I remembered recently why I picked that fucking name, and I thought it was funny because in England, which is where I am, people pronounce it banana,
Uh-huh.
and so the Hannah, people, the very kind of the very uh, the very low culture nickname of Hannah Banana doesn't really work over here. So I thought it was funny if um I spelled it like it rhymed like it looks. So it's like Hannah Banana, like spelled banana being spelled like Hannah. But no, it doesn't matter because everyone calls me Hannah Banana, and I fucking hate it. But I don't actually hate it. It's fine. But that's it. That's it. And I'm in Nottingham, England.
Okay. All right. And
Yeah.
so, what's the name of your project?
Uh, I I guess it's the same name, but I kind of used to do I used to do the old uh Ferrara thing where I would come up with a new name for each release, or have lots of but Hannah Banana just as a sort of personal name is kind of the umbrella for everything. My Bandcamp has a completely different fucking name. I don't remember why,
What's your
but
band
there's
camp?
two. Candle Cage Pan Solar.bandcamp.com.
You're gonna need to
Uh,
spell that, I think.
yeah, it's CandleCagePanSolar. Yeah. it's oh fuck, I actually remember. So I used to have a website uh, where I wanted to do things through a website. And it was a very kind of like uh, in a way, like part of me wants to compare it to a cathedral because of how huge and sort of articulate it was, but it was also really poorly made because I sort of didn't know how to make it. So I want to compare it to like a pile of vomit. So it's kind of like both, which then makes me think of that. Do you know that guy? There's two things. There's the one guy in Italy, maybe too much of a compliment to myself to compare it to this guy who was like making his own cathedral by hand, and he's buried in it. But there's also that guy, that mentally disabled guy in China who built like a 7-story like mud house for his brothers he didn't know were dead. It's more like that. It was more like that. And then I I called it that, which has never been the name of anything I've made, but I called it that because I was because I said that this is, I guess, hmm, this is a bit I'm willing to drop rather than maintain. I used to say that the website was being run on a machine in the center of the earth that was called Candle Cage Pansola. So like the Bandcamp's from that time, so it's called that. I wish this wasn't all in.
Oh, this is the best. This is the best kind of in right now. It's a,
Okay.
it's s- okay. So I want to go to that idea of
Oh,
a computer at the center of the earth. Now,
yeah.
is that something you've incorporated into other work that you've done, or is it in any way related to like your lyrics or anything like that?
I um no, I fixated on it for a while. I think it's just imagery that like for some kind of primordial reason um sticks to me, like like thorn, or like or maybe like just some kind of vague personal archetype that seems to satisfy some thing that's secret to myself. Like a bunch of times with no kind of effort to cohere them or any kind of grand narrative, I I've made things where part of it involves there being some kind of machinery that's buried in the earth or in a
Hmm.
mountain or like a volcano. I don't know why. That's come up a few times. I used to fuck. It's not well written at all, but I used to have I had a piece of writing about truckers who had like uh, iron deposit, like the mineral iron inside them. I don't know. I have a weird thing about things being inside things. I don't know. It's just there's no real theme to that. I very a lot of a lot of my sort of smear on the world is off the top of the dome. So there's a lot of just sort of patterns emerged out of flippant sort of constant
Right.
production. And yeah, I don't know, something in my head about that. I'm just sort of just sort of a little bit fucked up in that specific way for machines being inside the earth.
Are you familiar with the author Ira Levine?
No,
He
was
wrote
that?
his most famous work was The Boys from Brazil, which turned
Uh
into a movie later on, which was about like people making clones of Hitler in South America. And
huh.
his but he wrote this book called This Perfect Day, which is all about a society that's kind of controlled by culture and medicine, and but the real veil of society is that there's a computer buried in a mountain somewhere in like northern Italy or something like that.
Dude,
So that's
oh,
what
that's
it made me think
beautiful.
of. Yeah, that's what it made me think
That's
of.
beautiful.
Yeah,
That's I love that so much.
yeah,
Yeah, I never heard of that. This guy looks interesting.
yeah. He's got some good stuff. I think. And have you ever? Okay, so tell me about your
Hmm.
recordings. Do you? What are they like? What are their names? What are they about?
Oh, um, uh, it's varied a lot over the. Um, I I started I started putting stuff up. My first thing went up in uh, July 2017, and I was like 16 by like a month, I think, and I've now I'm about to turn 25, and I used to. I have like I don't know how many, but like over 200 some plus some like things on my Bandcamp, so that they've definitely uh stray stylistically. It like um most of it's probably not worth listening to.
Would you
I
say that they were albums? Like, what length are they? Would you say?
That varies too. I mean, it depends on what I was into. I very much began like, oh fuck, yeah. They used to, oh, shit. I'm just like looking myself now. It depends. I've always been very like idea first, and then just everything conforming around it. So like it really depends.
So it
Like I have one
ranges
thing that
from
has,
like extremely short to extremely long. You'd say?
yeah, just depending on oh, it's like that. It's like this T.S. Eliot quote about free verse poetry. He said that free verse, or I think he said like verse liber is only liber if you have nothing to say, which I
Ah,
like a lot. Like you know, the freedom of a medium like is is in a sense by taking away the metrical expectations and whatnot.
yeah, that makes sense.
Like suddenly poets were imprisoned solely by what they feel needs to be, said, and what the work demanded, what the craft of the form demanded,
The
whatever.
form, yeah.
And I guess like Bandcamp is, oh god, especially in the like, it was such an example of that because it made like any like tween dipshit could like make a label, and like anyone could upload like any length of audio, any number of things, and call it an
Right.
out like. So like there's that kind of verse libra is only as libra as if you have something to say, like two occurs there because like it's just whatever you decide to publish. So
Yeah, that's true.
there's stuff on here that's like, yeah, I have one thing fucking really old called Searching for the Number 4 Lost Gold, and it's a release, and I think it's only 4 minutes long. Just 2 minutes long. But then I have like, yeah, stuff that's like hours.
Let's focus on that
Um
for just a second. Let's hyper focus on this
yeah.
one piece.
Oh
What is
fuck,
its
okay.
construction? Like, what is its instrumentation? Do you sing on it or speak on it? How does it work?
Um at the time, so this is a very very this is yeah, it's from 2017. I At the time I had become, so my like, yeah, this particular thing it's made with a cassette recorder that I had removed the erase head from. That was per the inspiration of this guy, Son of Salami.
Uh huh.
Oh, I don't know if you may have heard of. Um, he's also gone under Joey Pizza Slice, but he like, I discovered his music. I was like 15 or something. It like enamored me. It's definitely a kind of entrance outside of the narrower path, and like he would make pop music, like structurally and
Yeah.
in its idea and stuff. But it would be, instead of having an 8 track, where you have multiple layers and whatnot, he removes the erase head from the from a just a portable personal listening cassette recorder that was just made for the home for the consumers.
Right.
So that when you record onto the tape, if there's anything already on the tape, it won't get magnetically erased. But what you record just sort of mushes on top, and
Oh, okay.
he would construct, but you can't hear what's happening while you do it. And he would construct these beautiful, messy sort of pop songs where the kind of sort of uncouthness, and without selling meaning or anything, as part of the aesthetic appeal, I think his sort of slobbishness, which sort of is completely exuding from the form at all times down to the audio quality. Anyway, I had gotten really into that, just the fact that he did that and the fact that you can do that. So I was doing that on this. So Searching for Lost Gold is a 2-minute cassette recording. But at the time, however, I had become completely enamored with the body of work of James Ferraro and his early the band The Skaters, where like, it was kind of I wasn't around when New Age was like god awful.
Mm-hmm.
So like it was kind of my introduction to those themes at all, as like a very shut in like child. And just any kind of, but then also it was an inroad to like noise music and drone and so many things at once. And then also his very sort of characteristic, uh, not not looseness, the way that he would sort of he would his projects, like they were hyper like concept heavy. Like the album cover would be, almost like an ideogram of various like various cultural references that kind of all together represent something that's never been sort of represented before, but
Right.
you see it and feel it there in a way that's recognizable. And the whole project would bend around this vibe, I guess. And in a sense, it's a kind of non-committal, because he had no allegiance to, you know, rock or drone or whatever. He would make, something. And yeah, I was totally enamored by him, but I was making music with this tape thing. So I remember at the time I had not figured out how James made stuff. And in 2017, I most certainly would have been basically just trying to rip him off, which I say with no shame, because it was a sort of, I think, learning experience as a young shit. I think so. I think the recording is like, I had like a monophonic Casio thing, and it really lacks, compared to other stuff. Like, I own like a Casio SK1, and it's like a fucking, it's like the key to the city. Like it's the most versatile thing I've ever owned. But at the time, I just had this monophonic, uh, tiny Casio thing that just had these sort of very sort of sine wavy, no, not sine wavy, like saw wavy noises on them. And I believe the recording is me layering lots of like arpeggiation and noodling over the top of itself, and I think maybe playing a drum a little bit.
Did you record that
It
all at once, or did you mush it like three
No,
times?
yeah, that was in individual layers. So all of those things were sort of imposed over the top of, yeah, it's layered like you could, like you would do in Audacity,
Right.
but yeah, just
It's basically like you're doing
yeah,
one
like that.
track tape recording, and you're just mad. You're not. I'm not trying not. I'm
Yeah.
not laughing because it's like mocking. I'm laughing
Mm,
because it's fun. But
yeah.
you're taking like one track tape recording and just recording on that one track over and over again.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a little bit of mystery to it, a little bit of like unexpected beauty, because sometimes you throw yourself in, that you don't know what's underneath what you're recording. But then you can also zoom around with the little. It's always a bit imprecise, which I think charm is probably its lasting merit. But like,
Well, I like anything.
yeah,
I like to surprise myself. I like to create a
mm,
piece, and then like if I don't know what it's going to sound like, then I think I did a good job sometimes. If that makes sense.
yeah. No, I mean, there's so much.
Hello. If you're still on the line, you cut out audio wise. It's just me. This has never happened before. Just Ryan. This is what an interview sounds like without a subject. I feel like this is a perfect person for this situation to happen to. All right, I'm gonna hit the call button again here. right here with me, people. Will she pick up?
Oh, hey. Yeah.
Hey.
My internet just died, it seems.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's great. We just got about 45 seconds of me talking to myself, so that's going to be in there somewhere.
Cool. Do you remember the last thing I said?
The last thing you said. I know you were talking on the matter of you were talking about how I know it was related to the single tape recorder and how there's a bit of mystery involved in it, and how.
Yeah. Well, I was definitely just rambling on my own about mistakes or sort of getting rewarded by mistakes and accidents, and but also how, like, I think, did you hear? I'll just say it again anyway. I was saying, like, I feel like with any art in any like medium or form, probably by like everyone ever, there's like, you kind of bring to it meagerly your like offering of your idea, your like hard idea, your passionate, like your intent and your scheme. You bring it like as an offering, like, and you know, it gets sort of it goes through a journey like informed by completely unpredictable things, and like chaos and randomness and whatnot, like for writing or for music or for whatever. Like nothing good I've ever made, like I think the best stuff I've made is when I was really trying to do something, but what I was trying to do I did not achieve, because I think at least personally, I try and go with the mistakes, go with the accidents.
I think this might just be semantics, but I like to say, I would like to think about it as I achieve what I was setting out to, but not in the way that I expected.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it. I've never really it kind of came to me, I just got reminded of the film Julian Donkey Boy by Harmony Korine. He made a manifesto, the mistakist declaration before that film, and there are a few elements in it that I quite desire. His yeah, I mean, this is a completely, this is not something I'm like, in terms of its medium, it's not something I'm kind of familiar with, but like I really like these few parts from it. So point 10 on it is, only in randomness and mistakes, quote unquote, can one truly announce what is too deep to express in a direct and true way. Point 12 is, rather than direct a scene, document the action, which I think if you like allow yourself to abstract that, kind of goes very well with at least how I like produce songs.
It definitely goes well with how I do interviews. It just hit record before it starts, and then it happens. That's how it goes. No editing.
Document the And then he says, the last point of it is, a mistakist must believe in God over all else, which I think kind of has a magical quality to it, in as much as you are kind of as an artist, per his outline there, kind of giving yourself over faithfully to a sort of principle that you can't define.
I agree with that completely. Actually, it's a process.
I have that effect on people.
You're just trusting that it's going to be what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, it's like you like, in a sense, I don't think that the art, it's like the muse, in like classical ancient poetry, like, like some of the most like eternal literature that we have begins with the poet dramatically asking like something else, asking the muse to tell him what to say, and then he repeats it to you, and that's like I think that has a very intuitive thing to it, like the sense that like we're not like if I like what I have to bring to the table isn't enough. Like if you only received my attempts at scaffolding the thing, it's like you wouldn't have the fruit of the art piece. Like it's almost like you're always in sort of corroboration with, you know, the end result, which will not be what you thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and the end makes you do it before it happens.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even need to be like, just like, cause I don't know, saying this, I feel like I sound like some kind of like annoying, like Jungian or something. But like,
well, I mean, Roger Penrose,
you don't even need to be metaphysical about it.
Sorry, Roger Penrose, the physicist,
Yeah,
demonstrated that the future causes the past. Like he demonstrated it. So
I haven't read his paper. Is it demonstrated?
I mean,
familiar with
he created a mathematical construct that's consistent with what they observed, I guess is what you would say. But I'm not a physicist.
I've been like,
but
yeah, I've had a tab on his thing about consciousness and stuff for like years, but I haven't actually gone to look at it.
But also, like in general, there's a movement in physics that demonstrates that the future causes the past. What do they call it? Retrocausation.
I also feel, like, I feel like I could, retrocausation. I feel like you could word it in a completely different way. Like if I wanted to say that same principle to like a cynical, pragmatic, guy who, you know, even Spinoza is too much. Like there is no sort of mind, and there is no unconscious. There is no whatever. There is no there isn't even fate. There isn't whatever. Whoever you needed to sell the idea to, you can. I think it ends up being the case, you know, that you collaborate with randomness, and I think kind of learning how to ride it is like ride that creature is the thing. I mean, but even riding it can, you know, that can be rebelling it. Like I feel like, you know, it's not like I want to declare that someone can't make a work of art by constantly rebelling against their own fate. You know, it's whatever ends up being there. That won't be, you know, clean from start to finish, a construct.
Yeah, but even
entirely
then,
as it came to be.
Even then, the result is a consequence of intentionally struggling against that. You know, so it's
exactly.
It's like
that's what I meant.
So, yeah. So you're saying, I think what you're saying, and what I'm hearing is correctly, is like everything that you produce creatively, or maybe even greater than just creatively, you're sort of in a conversation with things that are outside of yourself. You know, you can't help but be in a conversation with what's outside of yourself, even if you're the darkest cynic. You know.
Yeah, exactly. I think so. Yeah, the art is produced by the struggle the artist has with ... You know, in the moving towards the idea.
Yeah, you don't have to call it God or whatever.
But, No, yeah, but I think it's a good. Needless to say, I think it was the right choice of harmonies, the phrasing there, because, you know, with the implications of the sort of faithfulness that he's demanding the artist in that kind of other that the artist encounters, wherever the fuck it is.
I agree with that. At least I do it. Cool. That's more important than agreeing with it.
Yeah. But yeah, why are we talking about this? The tape thing, right?
Yeah, this came back all the way to the tape.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about that one song. We were trying to hyper-focus on that one song. And all this kind of blossomed out of talking about one of what sounds like hundreds of your pieces.
Yeah. I will say, it's funny that I only realized recently, so the thing that I've just most recently made, and I'm trying to sort of promote the most, which is an album called That's Right, There It Is, Spirit. It's oddly similar without me thinking about it at all. Like, because I made it in Audacity with mostly using like single takes laid over each other like by single takes I mean like just sort of keeping in the mistakes or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't have headphones, so the recording kind of accumulated on itself as it picked up the other layers and stuff. And it's produced like that, and it's kind of reminiscent to the what I got, like, that stuff I got into when I was like 15, like 10 years ago. Jesus.
And does this what sort of instrumentation is on this newest work?
Well, it's funny. It's kind of like it's kind of like my singer-songwriter album, but like it doesn't sound like that. It was kind of it uses all sorts of things, but a lot of guitar, electric and acoustic, Casio SK1 samples, random bits of rhythm, noises, lots of different. It's kind of spare and minimal. That's something that does not exist in my discography for the first couple of years at all. But it's kind of I was listening like pretty exclusively, like monomaniacally, except for the fact I'm going to say two things, like to one song by the like pop folk artist Adrienne Lenker, and another song by fucking Dean Blunt and Elias, however you say his name, which is like none of my music has ever sounded like those songs. I can't do that, but it was what I was feeding myself with, and then what was coming out was kind of like what happens if I was to reach in that direction. So it's a lot of like noisy, fragmentary, kind of collagey recordings, kind of reaching and failing towards pop without actually being pop. Yeah.
Great. And is it available anywhere?
I feel like no, I don't actually. I was gonna say I feel like Don Draper. I don't.
Well, it's funny because I normally, as I wind the interview down, normally I ask people what they're promoting anyway. I'm not like so obtuse that I make you talk about things that have nothing to do with the album you're trying to promote. But like,
oh yeah, it was quite beneficial to me that like it totally actually justifiably came up in chance conversation.
Exactly, that's much better.
As a relevant thing. Yeah, I mean you can hear it on the aforementioned Bandcamp as one of the things at the top.
That's right.
And I mean, if anyone lives in England, I'm selling the album with some bonus tracks and a zine at shows.
I was gonna say, do you perform out?
Yeah, like you asked where I was from. Like, so I'm based in Nottingham, but until like 2 years ago, when I started doing live shows, which I could talk a bit more about, I was basically only listened to on this planet, Glabo 9. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Glabo 9, the planet? No, I've never been invited.
No, it's far away, but it's their, like, standard alien fare, like millions of little green fuckers. But they was like the only place that had paid any attention to me. I was kind of like their like Taylor Swift, so I got to like
okay.
A lot of like, yeah, it was I would have to sort of cater to their interests.
You were like dating one of their alien sports stars.
Never. No. But I had a roommate for a while, one of them. But anyway, it's like how the Cardigans are bigger in Japan, the Cardigans. True? Yeah, apparently that's true. Apparently they're like weirdly big in Japan, but it's like it's a sort of funny, like aesthetic coincidence that like that was exactly what the Japanese sort of consensus cultural was at the time.
Good for them.
Yeah, but yeah, so I'm kind of contractually obliged to mention them at least once, so I get my Glabo Arts funding. So I had to throw that in there. But
you want to spell that?
I do play. I've never I've never played there. I play in Nottingham. And no, yeah, fucking anywhere, I guess. I've played in the UK only so far. But yeah, I started playing shows. I didn't know anything existed that was like interesting, like in Nottingham. I had no idea. I was very much like the big early bulk of my experience with art and music was like sort of online enclaves of like sort of weird teenagers, like, and I didn't know that there was anything worth caring about like outside, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then like 2 years ago, I got an email from this this thing called Ramel Club, which is like they put on shows. They've been putting on shows for fucking years, like a decade, in Nottingham, because they'd just come across me and wanted me to play, and kind of just got I kind of just got like very suddenly tapped into the fact that like there was actually a fucking great experimental music scene in the UK in general, but especially in Nottingham. I'm very grateful for it because like I've played shows in bigger cities that seem like bigger deals, and there's always less people than in Nottingham because I guess the fewer people turn out more. But yeah, no, I play whenever I get the opportunity to, in the UK and fucking wherever. I mean, if someone wants me to go to Cambodia, I might do that.
That's interesting that you say that. That's the way it works in UK too. Because here in the States, if you do a show in a huge city like New York City or something like that,
Yeah,
it's like you're drowning in a sea of 5,000 other shows, and so people don't show up. But like the smaller
yeah,
midtown cities like Fargo, North Dakota, have like an amazing
yeah,
experimental scene. So that's how we're.
yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, too. I think there's most definitely a matter of like effort that is like very fruitful. Like for like I know because after that, sort of being brought out of my hermitude by these shows, I'm like very very good friends with the people who put on the Ramel, and I know they probably won't mind me saying this. They lose money doing it, but like
Sure.
they still do it, and they do it like really well, and they have a good sense of curation, but also like variety, and they the gigs are just always really fun and good, and you know like they put that like work in, and I feel like that's like really paying off in terms of just like people wanting to like cool acts wanting to play at Ramel Club gigs and just people wanting to come back out to them. So I feel like very grateful for like the kind of sort of sacrifices to the fertility of a music scene made by people having to sort of go out of their way to make something exist, even if it doesn't come at any kind of immediate benefit as recognizable by the pragmatic world.
Yeah, it's definitely got a mission quality to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what a fantastic conversation. Um, I always wrap it up with 3 questions. So you kind of answered all of them, but I'm just going to go down them anyway. Number 3 is there anything you'd like to promote?
Oh, uh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Shit. Kind of jumped the gun there, didn't I? Yeah. I mean, I think that that album, that's right. There it is, Spirit. There's if you download it, which you can do for free. There's a zine attached to it. I've kind of like I'm very inspired by what's it? No, that doesn't make sense. I'm I'm I write, and I've just written a short story that I'm like kind of proud of. So I'm trying to get it out there. So if you listen to that album, you might not like it, you might like it, but then also it would entitle you to it would allow you to read this short story.
Cool.
Is that that's my focus. That's the brand focus right now.
And question number 2 is a bit more broad. It is what is most important?
Okay. Okay. Give me a minute. It's a weird question to answer because in some ways I think art is an inherent conflict to life. So like to answer as an artist and to answer as a person, I feel like I'm genuinely at odds with myself. Like I think my realist answer is that capital L, love, is the most important thing. But I also think that the construction of anything artistically, whether it's prose or poetry or music or visual art, whatever, like it demands, I think it demands more of yourself than you'll ever be willing to take in terms of like producing something that actually, demands itself into existence. But then also, like, I think the pursuit of that, like, will, I don't know. I'm thinking of this Faulkner interview where I wouldn't say this exactly, but he quite cruelly is like, the production of the piece of work, the art should be like more important to the writer than anything else, even like his own grandmother. Like, you should rob and steal from her if it means that you can, complete the work. I think that like, but I'm at odds with myself about that in a way that I don't think is I can do anything about. I think in order to like fucking like pierce into the body of like human possibility when it comes to creation, like you have to be willing to distort yourself to be uncomfortable with yourself, or to go beyond, to make a blood sacrifice, to like to produce something that will matter. But then at the same time in life, I believe that deferring to love always. So I'm completely at odds with myself there, but I think I've just accepted that.
Normally, I wouldn't be conversational about this question, but it's intrigued me, so I'm going to say something.
I had no other way to answer it. I very firmly will defer to love in life, but I will defer to art, whatever.
I guess the short version of what I was going to say, based on what you just said, is there might be a way in which those two things are the same thing.
Yeah.
That we don't really fully get, and then I think that's enough. But final question is, was there anything in particular you were hoping to talk about that we didn't address? And if so, you can feel free.
I was just in my head. I was wondering how funny it would be to be like Ukraine, but no, not
do
that.
Stuff like that though.
Fuck. The only thing I did in my head, like not knowing what you were going to talk about, what the format was going to be, the only thing I had in my head when thinking about myself, pondering myself narcissistically in preparation for this, was I realized that there's a similarity in the people who've like inspired me in the biggest ways over the years, which, to narrow it down, I would say is James Ferraro, Harmony Korine, and Ezra Pound, in as much as they've always sort of toured the voice that is used. They sort of produce things from perspectives that aren't their own, with absurdity, but like a commitment to the truth beneath that. Like, James Ferraro made albums under 1 billion different aliases with different sounds. Harmony Korine sort of impersonates personas and caricatures across his work, and Ezra Pound's like early stuff is all concerned with faithfully imitating the voices of the past, but bringing them into the present. And I've just realized that that's like that through line of appreciation totally shows up in me, like a kind of constant use of different masks. In fact, I was assuming I'd end up talking about my live show, which I'm doing at the moment, which I'm going to be hopefully going on tour towards the end of the year. But I do a thing where I allow a sort of the spirit of a trucker, of a long haul trucker who's stuck in a state of reincarnation to like enter my body and do a kind of rock and roll seance for people at shows. Most of it is kind of like, I mean, to be honest, it's kind of, people always tell me they can't understand what I'm saying, but it's basically like a sort of like fucking stand-up comedy in a sense, sort of rambling from this persona's perspective or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I thought I was gonna try and make that come up.
Well, it did, but you didn't have to make it.
It did. Yeah. I made it happen. I put love aside. I made it happen brutally.
Or
I have to get back to
is
love.
it because you're serving love by helping this disembodied trucker? You see, it could be the same thing.
Well, the thing is, you said that thing about the same thing, and then you said that's enough about that. I have thought. It bothers me because I actually have thoughts about that. But I don't know if you want to keep it.
There's no limits. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, cool. It's interesting you say that. I feel like that's, to me, I think it's true in as much as, I guess love has to be kind of considered more articulately. Like, especially in the sense of like historic time. I think like what's loving to a person is not exclusively, but it's what's nourishing to them. Like, it's what goads them into a kind of greater unfolding of themselves. That's not my definition of love, but that's part of love, which is kind of how I would reckon with the premise of an all-loving God giving us this existence where, and and that's obviously, you can think about like, why do we have to go through the book of Job? And like, thinking about that stuff, I thought about how like the most impactful pieces of like human media, like, kind of show us that what's the most like important to us and developing of us and revealing of the beauty of existence. I think about like, it's kind of like, like the Iliad and the Odyssey, and examples where like mankind is pushed into experiences that are not in immediate moments pleasant, that you wouldn't think of as love per se, but only out of that experience has anything kind of worth talking about been produced. Like, how has been beauty has come out of that, like a maturation. And like, in a sense, there's like a timeless love and there's a love in time, where I think it is a gesture of love to make good art for people at the expense of people and yourself, because you're helping them, you're giving them the like the rips in their carapace as they grow. Like, actually carapaces don't do that, they accrete. But oh, that made me sound so autistic. Okay, wait, never mind. I think putting people, art demonstrates like a principle of loving people by putting them through experiences that may not seem loving, because I think the full development of a human being is kind of like, it's at least the kind of love that God gives us while we're here, whereas the timeless kind of love is this kind of, is a completely different thing. And I think is the kind of love you engage in when you're with a lover. Like, when you hug and hold somebody, you're kind of imitating a bliss that doesn't have to end, even though it does have to end. But in life, if you were doing that all the time, you would not experience the fullness of being a human being. You would have a shit life. You need to be tested, trialed, and whatnot. And I think that if you think about art and the art you like and stuff, it's all a kind of it's all just documentations of growing pains. And in that way, I do think that love and art, in the way I was talking about it, are the same thing, but it's not a love that people are going to enjoy immediately. But I think it's necessary. I think it's absolutely necessary.
I think I follow what you're saying. I used to
Yeah.
I used to say that there's value in experimental or avant-garde art, sometimes almost in the sense of the fact that an oyster needs a particle of sand in order to produce a pearl. Like
Oh, that's lovely.
like we're presenting even to ordinary people who quote unquote don't get it, quote unquote. Um, you're presenting them with something that creates a process of stimulation and vexation in their subconscious, at least, that
Uh-huh.
causes them to struggle with some kind of idea or some kind of notion of reality or some kind of expectation that they have. And but it's a
Yeah.
much safer way to do it than going out and
Mm.
getting hit by a badger.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Oh, that's actually, I love that.
yeah,
It's almost like art as a sublimation of pain, as opposed to people saying like art as a sublimation of love or something.
yes,
Like, yeah,
it's
the
it's it,
oyster
it's
metaphor is perfect.
yes, it stimulates and simulates the process we would go through with something that's actually dangerous that would make us better people for contending with it, but it's not actually dangerous. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And I guess we don't have control over the stimuli that is actually dangerous, which I guess the wellspring of the human existence.
Oh, of
But we
course,
do have
that's
control over
right.
art.
Exactly,
But
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah, that's wonderful. I do think that reckoning with the difference, or with the fact that reckoning with the fact that oh, actually, fuck, I might have just lost it. Yeah, I might have just lost it. I think I've probably already
Yeah, I
summed
think
myself up pretty
enough has
well.
been said for now. How,
Good.
how do you feel?
Two thumbs up. I don't breathe enough when I talk, so I'm a little out of breath. Is how I feel. I feel good. I've had a good time talking to you. It's been fun, stimulating. I thought it was. I fucked up and leave this in. I fucked up and thought it was like the other day when you asked me what time to call. I thought that day was the same day you wanted to call, and I was like super nervous, and it was really sunny. It's like horribly hot in England right now. It was really sunny, and I accidentally stumbled across the movie Badlands by Terrence Malick, but I didn't know what it was about. And I thought it was beautiful, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go get a cigarette. I'm gonna buy a Coca-Cola from the shops. And I'm gonna sit in the sun, watch Badlands, and then and then have this conversation, and it'll have set me on the right path. And then I watch Badlands, and it's about a fucking, you know, I mean, he's a beautiful character, but he's a pedophile in a way.
Jesus
So
Christ.
then I was like, oh no, what have I done? But then we didn't have the interview, so it was fine.
Though that's a great
Good
example
movie.
of how art provides you the negative stimulation that helps you grow without it actually happening. So,
Oh yeah, and also in me narrowly dodging across as a pedophile.
oh
Ended
boy.
on that.
Okay, let's end it on that. Thank you for this conversation, and it will most likely be in our July 1st edition, although there's a chance it'll be in August 1st. I will let you know.
Cool. Yeah, sick. No worries. Thank you very much. I
Yep.
really enjoyed it.
Yep. Me too. Have a great night.
Bye bye.